We have an energetic field that goes around our body. Within it has the accumulated motions and thoughts that we are continuously thinking.
Ever walked into a room and felt the air shift around you, as if invisible hands were reaching for you, pulling at something you couldn't see but could definitely feel? That's not your imagination, that's energy. And the truth most people never say out loud is that some individuals are quietly harvesting yours. They take from your presence, your calm, your strength, without asking and without even realizing what they're doing, leaving you drained in ways sleep can't fix. So, in this video, you will learn what this energetic harvesting really is, why it targets people like you, and how to finally protect your energy permanently. The truth about your energy. What you feel in those moments, the shift in the air, the sudden heaviness, the tension you can't explain, is not random, and it's not an overreaction. It's energy in its purest form, the same force ancient traditions tried to describe with words like prana, ki, mana, ashe, or simply life force. Every culture knew that a person carries an invisible field that speaks louder than their voice and announces their presence long before they enter a room. Your own energy does exactly that. It moves ahead of you, it whispers truths others can't hide from, and it reveals strength they can feel even if they don't understand it. And when that energy is powerful, truly powerful, it never slips quietly into a space. It unsettles what's hidden, exposes what's unstable, and disrupts the atmosphere in ways that make some people uneasy enough to start pulling from you without even realizing why. You may have spent years shrinking yourself in subtle ways because you noticed how people behaved around you. Maybe you never gave the shifts much thought, or maybe you blamed yourself for being too much, too intense, or too different. But the truth is simpler and stranger. People can feel you. They sense you at a level they don't have words for. Even those who don't understand energy, who don't believe in anything spiritual or unseen, react instinctively. The body knows what the mind dismisses. The heart knows what logic attempts to ignore. When your energy enters a space, others adjust themselves around it, sometimes out of admiration, sometimes out of discomfort, and sometimes out of fear. Most people move through the world with scattered, leaking, or weakened energy. This is not an insult. It is a common human condition. Life wears people down. Responsibilities drain them. Stress chips away at them. Pain collapses them inward. Many are walking through their days with only a small percentage of their life force fully available. When someone with powerful, intact, grounded energy enters the same space, the difference is too significant to go unnoticed. It creates a type of friction, the way warm air meets cold air and immediately forms a storm. To understand why this happens, imagine a calm lake. On the surface, everything appears still, but beneath it, currents are shifting. If you drop a stone into the center, ripples move outward in perfect circles until the entire lake has been touched. Your energy works the same way. Even if you do nothing, even if you stand quietly, even if you try to blend into the background, the ripples move. Every room becomes that lake. Every presence around you becomes water responding to your internal vibration. Some waters remain calm, blending with your frequency. Others churn. Others resist. And some waters, especially those hiding their own storms, become unsettled because your presence reminds them of everything they have not faced. Powerful energy has always had this effect. It is not simply about being confident or expressive. It is not about being loud or charismatic. True energy has nothing to do with personality. It comes from something deeper, something rooted in self-awareness, experience, spiritual resilience, and inner truth. When you carry the weight of your own soul without running from it, people feel that. When you walk with clarity, even if you don't speak a word, the atmosphere acknowledges it. When you have done the internal work that others avoid, the contrast is impossible to hide. In some Zen teachings, they speak of a monk who walked through a marketplace without saying anything, yet every person he passed suddenly became quiet. No one understood why, but something in his presence demanded stillness. He did nothing, yet everything around him changed. The lesson was simple. The silent power of someone who knows themselves is louder than noise, louder than reputation, louder than status. Another example comes from an old Middle Eastern parable of a traveller who stopped at a village for water. The moment he arrived, the animals became restless, the children stood still, and the elders exchanged uneasy glances. They felt his inner fire before he even spoke. They later discovered he was a man who had survived great hardship, and carried wisdom that could not be faked. His scars were unseen, but the spirit behind them was not. In these stories, and in your own life, the message is the same. Energy enters before the body does. People don't respond to your clothes, your tone, or your features first. They respond to your field, your presence, your vibration. It is silent, but it is unmistakable. This same energy is also the reason why you feel drained after certain interactions or environments, even when nothing bad happened. Some rooms take from you the moment you enter. The air feels heavy. The conversations feel dull or forced. The people feel restless or irritated for reasons you cannot understand. This is not your imagination. It is a sign that your energy clashes with the energy of the space. When your vibration is high, honest, and aligned, it becomes incompatible with spaces that are low, scattered, or dishonest. You may walk into a workplace, a family gathering, a store, or even a friend's home and instantly sense the imbalance. You might notice your breathing tighten slightly, or your mind sharpen, or your body remain on alert without any clear reason. Humans are energetic beings long before we are logical beings. We feel the truth before we think it. We sense danger before we understand it. We notice spiritual movement long before we can explain it. People who carry strong energy often underestimate this gift. They assume everyone feels the world the same way, but that is not the case. Many walk through life numb to these currents. Others sense them but do not understand them. A few recognize them but fear them. And then there are those who react negatively because your energy mirrors what they lack. Imagine a person who has not faced their own pain. When they encounter someone whose energy is grounded, calm, and clear, it becomes a painful reminder of everything unresolved within them. This discomfort may show as irritation, avoidance, passive hostility, or subtle withdrawal. They are not reacting to your words, they are reacting to your vibration. In the Taoist tradition, there is an understanding that everything in nature seeks balance. When an energy enters that is stronger, purer, or more stable, it forces the surrounding energies to reveal themselves. Some rise to meet it, some collapse, some resist, some flee. This is why powerful energy disturbs people. It triggers a natural sorting process they cannot control, drawing their true state to the surface. This reaction becomes even more intense when your energy is not only strong, but also awakening. People feel the shift in you even before you're fully aware of it yourself. They sense when your boundaries become firmer, when your inner light strengthens, when your clarity sharpens. They notice when you stop absorbing their emotions and begin protecting your own. They notice when their influence on you fades. They notice when you walk differently because something inside you has changed, even if you don't announce it. And in this world, where so many depend on the weakness of others, emotionally, spiritually, or mentally, your strength becomes a disruption. Your presence breaks patterns. Your truth exposes illusions. Your energy does not let people stay comfortable in the roles they placed themselves in or placed you in. When you stand rooted, those who thrive on imbalance feel unsteady. When you hold your center, those who rely on power over others lose their grip. When you shine from within, those who live in shadows feel exposed. This is why some people pull away from you without explanation. This is why some grow silent around you. This is why some seem irritated for no reason. This is why some treat you with caution, as if you possess something they cannot name. It is not your personality. It is your field. It is your presence. It is your energy. The most powerful energy in the world is not loud, controlling, or dramatic. It is simply steady. It fills a room without trying. It influences without demanding. It shapes the atmosphere without force. It carries a quiet truth that cannot be denied. And you will learn what strengthens this energy, what drains it, and what you must do to protect it from those who take without asking. But before any of that, you must first understand the truth you have been sensing all along. Your energy is not ordinary. It moves things. It reveals things. It unsettles things. And it deserves to be protected. The power and burden of psychic energy. Long before energy became a popular word in conversations about wellness and spirituality, Carl Jung tried to explain something deeper, something far more complex than motivation or emotion. He believed that every human being carries a reservoir of inner force. he called psychic energy, a kind of spiritual electricity that feeds your thoughts, your feelings, your intuition, your imagination, your instincts, and even the atmosphere around you. It is not visible, not measurable by any physical instrument, yet it influences everything. How you walk into a room, how people respond to your presence, what kinds of experiences you attract, and why certain individuals feel unsettled when you arrive. Jung believed psychic energy is the foundation of the human soul, and that it cannot be separated from the way we move through the world. He compared it to the flow of water in a river. It can move calmly and steadily, or it can surge with intensity, but either way, it is always shaping the landscape around it. He believed that every person's inner life, every desire, conflict, emotion, memory, dream, and fear is powered by this energetic current. When that current is strong and unobstructed, the person becomes centered, focused, intuitive, grounded, and quietly powerful. When that current becomes blocked, drained, or tangled, the person becomes anxious, confused, lost, or emotionally heavy. This energy is not imagination. Jung argued that psychic energy is the fuel that drives human behavior, spiritual awareness, personal transformation, and even social interactions. And like any force of nature, it creates effects outside the individual. A person with intense psychic energy influences the world around them without saying a word. People feel it the way they feel heat from a fire, or the way they feel the weather change before a storm. Imagine sitting near a person who is internally calm, deeply grounded, and emotionally secure. You may find your own breathing slowing without knowing why. Now imagine sitting beside someone tense and restless. Even if they're silent, you can feel the agitation around them. Jung believed this was psychic energy responding to psychic energy, a type of quiet communication that happens below the level of language. When your energy is strong, people react to it instinctively. Some feel drawn to it, others feel intimidated, some feel inspired, others feel exposed, some feel comfortable, others grow defensive. Jung said the reaction depends entirely on the other person's inner condition, not yours. In other words, their response reveals them, not you. One of Jung's most important insights was that psychic energy follows attention. Where our attention goes, he said, our energy flows. This means your thoughts are not passive. Your emotions are not passive. Your memories are not passive. Everything you think about, feel, or focus on becomes a channel for your psychic energy. If your attention is constantly pulled toward fear, conflict, self-doubt, or unresolved pain, your energy drains into those places like water leaking through cracks. When your attention is directed toward healing, clarity, meaning, and truth, your energy strengthens. This is why someone with unresolved inner conflicts can walk into a room and instantly sense tension. Their own psychic energy is tangled, so they feel the knots in the atmosphere around them. Meanwhile, someone with a strong, aligned inner world walks into the same room and shifts the tone simply by existing. Jung believed that psychic energy naturally tries to bring order to chaos, and this is why powerful energy disturbs people who carry emotional disorder. When you enter a space, your clarity exposes the fog in others. Your groundedness reveals their turbulence. Your honesty mirrors their avoidance. Not everyone wants to see themselves clearly. Not everyone wants to face the truth within them, and this is where the disturbance comes from, the friction between your energy and the unacknowledged energies in others. They do not react to the surface level you, they react to the energy that moves beneath your presence. Jung also spoke about the unconscious as the greatest reservoir of psychic energy. Most people live with large amounts of their life force trapped in the unconscious, held down by unprocessed trauma, neglected emotions, suppressed desires, and unresolved memories. He believed that these hidden forces drain energy constantly, even when the person is doing nothing. The simple act of keeping certain emotions buried consumes energy the way a machine consumes fuel. Every suppressed truth becomes a drain. Every ignored intuition becomes a leak. Every denied feeling becomes a blockage. Now imagine a person who has done the opposite. Someone who has examined their inner world, faced their pain, processed their history, and brought light into places they once avoided. Jung believed this person becomes a vessel with minimal leakage, meaning their psychic energy is preserved, concentrated, and available to them. Their presence becomes intense, not because they are trying to be intense, but because their energy is not scattering in 100 directions, it is gathered. It is intact. It is whole. This is the type of energy that shifts rooms. This is the type of energy that makes people take a second look, even if they don't know why. This is the type of energy that disturbs those who are hiding from themselves. A person with strong psychic energy becomes magnetic. They attract experiences, insights, and people that align with their inner truth. They also repel what is weak, false, or draining. This magnetism is not emotional manipulation. It is the natural movement of energy-seeking resonance. Strong energy seeks strong energy. Broken energy gravitates toward other brokenness. Balanced energy disrupts imbalance because it forces it to confront itself, and this is why powerful energy cannot live in environments that feed on confusion, drama, or emotional chaos. Your presence becomes a threat to the patterns that exist in those spaces. People who rely on manipulation feel exposed. People who seek control feel destabilized. People who hide behind emotional masks feel unmasked. People who drain others feel blocked. Jung once wrote that psychic energy is the heat of the soul. If you imagine the soul as a fire, then psychic energy is the flame. A strong flame warms the room, a weak flame barely survives. A brilliant flame draws attention whether it wants it or not. And a flame that grows while others remain dim becomes a source of discomfort for those unwilling to tend to their own fire. Across different spiritual traditions, the same idea appears repeatedly. A person who has aligned their energy becomes both a mirror and a catalyst. In Buddhism, they say an awakened mind shakes the sleeping ones. In Sufism, they say a polished heart reflects the rust on others. In African spiritual wisdom, they say a person with strong ashe forces hidden energies to surface. In Taoism, they say true power is effortless, yet impossible to ignore. These beliefs echo Jung's understanding perfectly. Powerful psychic energy does not dominate others, it reveals them. It does not overpower the room, it simply rearranges the unbalanced energies within it. It does not seek attention, it naturally shifts attention. This is the part many people never learn. Your energy is not only powerful, it is also valuable. Jung believed psychic energy is the most precious resource a person has. Everything you do depends on it. Your ability to think deeply, feel clearly, love truly, create boldly, and sense intuitively all require energy. When this energy is drained, you feel spiritually empty. When it is misdirected, you feel lost. When it is blocked, you feel stuck. When it is stolen, you feel depleted. And this is where the danger comes in. People unconsciously take psychic energy from each other. Some do it through emotional dependency. Others do it through manipulation. Others do it through constant negativity. Others do it through unresolved inner wounds that spill into your space. These individuals may not intend harm, but their presence drains your energy the way a sponge absorbs water. When your energy is strong, these kinds of people feel it and gravitate toward you. They sense stability and want to feed from it. They sense clarity and hope to borrow it. They sense strength and attempt to lean on it. But this borrowing quickly becomes draining, and if you're not careful, your energy begins to leak without your awareness. The key to protecting psychic energy is awareness, not fear, not avoidance, not closing yourself off, simply awareness. When you know your energy, you can feel when it rises or lowers. You can sense when someone takes from you. You can recognize when a space weakens you. You can tell when someone is feeding on your presence. You become conscious of the exchange happening beneath the surface, and consciousness itself becomes a shield. The soul always knows when something is draining it, even when the mind tries to dismiss it. The body tightens, the intuition sharpens, the atmosphere feels different. This awareness is not sensitivity. It is survival. It is your energy noticing what the room cannot hide. Your energy is not average. It never has been. And Jung believed people like you, people with strong psychic energy, must learn to understand it, protect it, and use it intentionally. Because powerful energy is not just a gift, it is a responsibility. It shapes lives, it transforms spaces, it disturbs what is false, and strengthens what is true. Signs your energy makes people uncomfortable. When your energy carries weight, it doesn't have to be loud to be felt. It doesn't need to announce itself, explain itself, or try to prove anything. Powerful energy simply walks into a space, and the space reacts. Some people rise to meet it, others shrink, shift, tense, or scatter. And the most revealing part is that these reactions have almost nothing to do with what you say or do. They happen before you open your mouth, before you take your seat, sometimes even before you make eye contact. Energy speaks first, humans speak later. Many people talk about intuition, but what you are dealing with here is not simply intuition, it's recognition. Your energy is a mirror, and mirrors make some people uncomfortable. They reflect truth. They reveal things a person tries to hide. They show insecurity, dishonesty, jealousy, and the places inside someone they haven't healed. When your presence pulls these things to the surface, people react, sometimes subtly, sometimes suddenly, sometimes irrationally. And if you're not aware of what is happening, you may assume something is wrong with you when in reality something is waking up in them. These signs are not random. They are consistent, predictable, and incredibly revealing. When you understand them, you stop taking things personally and start seeing the deeper movement of energy happening beneath the surface of every interaction. The first sign is the sudden shift in the atmosphere when you enter a room. You have felt this before, maybe so many times that you thought it was normal. One moment people are laughing, relaxed, free in their conversations, and then you step inside and something changes. It may be quiet, but you feel the shift, like a subtle tightening in the air. The tone drops, the energy rearranges, people sit a little straighter, their eyes dart toward you without them realizing it. Something becomes alert. This happens because strong energy disrupts stagnant energy. It exposes it. It forces it to move. And many people do not like their inner world being stirred without their permission. In some spiritual teachings, especially in old Eastern philosophy, it is said that the person with the stronger energy field sets the vibration of the space. You've been doing this your whole life, even if no one ever taught you the language for it. Another sign appears in body language. People who feel unsettled around powerful energy often give themselves away physically. They may fidget, touch their face, adjust their clothes, or find reasons to stand instead of sit. Some cross their arms, as if trying to guard themselves from something invisible. Others avoid facing you directly, turning sideways, angling their body away, or positioning objects between you and them. It happens so quickly and naturally that they don't notice it, but you do. You see the discomfort, the shift, the sudden awareness they have of themselves, and you wonder what caused it. The answer is simple: your energy reveals them to themselves. The next sign is the way some people become overly talkative or strangely quiet around you. When your energy is strong, people tend to go to one of two extremes. Some ramble, over-explain, or speak rapidly as if they are trying to fill space. Because your calm presence makes their internal noise suddenly uncomfortable. Silence unsettles them, not because silence is threatening, but because they are not used to being witnessed by someone who sees beneath the surface. Others go quiet instead. They slow down, they weigh their words, they become cautious. Your presence forces them inward, and they don't know how to navigate that. This contrast, people becoming louder or softer, is not random. Both reactions are defenses. Both are signs that your energy is being felt. You will also notice people giving you strange looks. Not necessarily negative, not necessarily positive, but curious, as if they are trying to figure you out. They sense something about you they cannot name. It is something beyond personality or appearance. It is your energy field. It is the weight of your presence. You do not blend into the background. You don't vanish into the noise of a room. Instead, you create contrast, and contrast makes people look twice. There is a belief in certain mystical traditions that souls can recognize each other long before the mind understands what's happening. When someone looks at you in that lingering, puzzled, intrigued way, it is soul-level recognition. Even if the person has no spiritual language, they feel it. Something about you is different, and they sense it before they understand it. Another sign is how often people project onto you. When someone is uncomfortable with your energy, they may accuse you of being intimidating, judgmental, distant, too much, or too intense, even when you have done absolutely nothing to express those qualities. These projections are not reflections of who you are. They are reflections of what they feel when they stand next to you. In psychology and in spiritual teaching, projection is a defense mechanism. When someone cannot handle the truth rising inside of them, they project it outward. Your energy did not intimidate them. Their insecurity reacted to you. But people rarely say that out loud. There is also the sign of sudden competition. This one is common. When your energy is strong, certain people feel the need to prove something. sometimes by bragging, sometimes by challenging you, sometimes by subtly trying to outshine you in a conversation. You did nothing to start this competition. It began in their mind the moment they sensed your presence. In old spiritual writings, there is a concept called the disturbance of the unawakened. It describes the way unconscious people become reactive when exposed to awakened or conscious energy. It is not personal, it is natural. A dim light does not disturb a dark room. A bright one does. Some people will also seek your validation more than they do with others. They may watch your face when they speak, trying to measure your reaction. They want to know how you see them, even if they never admit it. This happens because strong energy naturally assumes a kind of authority. Not authority through force, but authority through presence. It is the same reason people naturally stood taller in the presence of Buddha, or why disciples calmed down when they entered the room of a teacher presence. Organizes chaos. There's also the sign of people becoming strangely defensive, even if you haven't criticized them. Your energy feels like truth. And truth makes some people feel exposed. They defend themselves before anything even happens. And perhaps the strongest sign of all is when people either cling to you or pull away entirely. Some are drawn to your energy like a breath they didn't know they needed, others retreat. Not because you harmed them, but because your presence awakens a part of themselves they are not ready to face. All of these signs share one message. Your energy is not neutral. It influences, exposes, awakens, and transforms. And transformation, whether welcomed or resisted, always begins with discomfort. How energy is drained, how people unconsciously take from you, and how to identify the patterns that exhaust you. If you've ever felt that strange fatigue, the one that feels like your soul is tired, you're not imagining it. Energy can be taken from you without your awareness, and most of the people who take from you do not do it consciously. Energy is exchanged every moment humans interact, even if the interaction is silent. In many ancient teachings, especially in the Vedic and Taoist traditions, there is a belief that every person carries a field of life force around them. This field shifts, contracts, and expands depending on who you're near, what you're feeling, and what you're carrying inside. Most people don't pay attention to this, not because it isn't happening, but because they've never been taught to notice it. You, on the other hand, feel everything, even when you don't want to. And because your energy is strong, grounded, and naturally stabilizing, people are drawn to it. They connect to it the way someone steps into shade on a hot day, or holds a warm cup in the middle of winter. They are not trying to take from you. They are trying to feel okay within themselves. They don't know they are doing it. They only know they feel calmer, lighter, safer, or more confident when you are near. But energy is not infinite, at least not in the human body. When someone unconsciously leans on your field to hold themselves up, they're not borrowing space, they're borrowing power. One of the clearest signs of this is the unexplainable exhaustion you feel after interacting with certain people. Even if the conversation was short or simple, even if the moment was casual and calm, something in you feels drained afterward. You step away and your thoughts feel heavy, your body feels slow, and your inner world feels unsettled. The interaction looked normal on the outside, but on the inside there was an exchange you didn't realize was happening. People who are emotionally unregulated seek out regulated energy without knowing it. People who are anxious seek grounded energy. People who are chaotic seek steady energy. People who feel small seek powerful energy. This is not new. Buddhist texts often refer to people who borrow stillness from monks in their presence. It is the same thing happening in your everyday life, just without the robes, rituals, or temples. Some people take energy by talking endlessly, pouring out their thoughts with no pause or awareness. They latch onto your attention like a lifeline. They don't realize they're not just venting. They're discharging their emotional load into your field. Other people take energy quietly. These are the ones who say almost nothing, but their presence feels heavy. They sit near you and your mind begins to work harder, your body becomes tense, and your spirit feels like it's carrying something that doesn't belong to you. Their silence is not peaceful, it's needy. Their presence is not soothing, it's consuming. There are also those who drain you through emotional turbulence. Their energy is unsettled, ungrounded, and loud. Even when their voice is soft, they pull from you, because your calm gives their storm somewhere to go. This is why you feel so tired around them. Your nervous system is doing the work their own should be doing. Then there are people who drain indirectly, through their expectations. You may notice that certain individuals always look to you for reassurance, solutions, comfort, or direction, even in situations where they should be standing on their own. They depend on your energy to make decisions, regulate their emotions, and stabilize their lives. You become the grounding force they refuse to develop in themselves. It's not always dramatic, sometimes it's subtle. The slight emotional pull, the small but constant demand, the steady expectation that you will somehow handle it. Their dependency isn't spoken, but you feel it, you carry it. And that weight eventually becomes exhaustion. Another pattern to watch for is people who shift your mood without saying a word. You enter as yourself, clear-minded, balanced, present, but within minutes your energy changes for no reason. Suddenly you feel irritated, anxious, tense, or drained, and you don't know why. This is one of the strongest signs that someone is unconsciously feeding off your field. Their internal chaos has leaked into your space, and because your energy is strong, it begins trying to absorb, process, or stabilize what they cannot handle within themselves. This dynamic is described in some mystical traditions as energetic transference. It's the invisible exchange that happens when two fields merge, and the stronger field automatically takes responsibility for the imbalance. You've been doing this your whole life without realizing it. You walk into a room, feel the energy shift, and your field instinctively begins to correct it. Not because you choose to, but because powerful energy does not like disorder. But this comes at a cost. Your spiritual reserves are being used to regulate the emotional state of others. There are also those who drain through envy or insecurity. This one is not loud or dramatic. It shows up in the small ways people act different around you. Cold greetings, short answers, strange tension, or that subtle desire to compete. Their discomfort becomes a silent pull, as if they are constantly measuring themselves against you. Their insecurity reaches toward your energy, and you feel the strain. Even people who admire you can unintentionally drain you. The ones who see you as strong, stable, or always okay may lean on you without realizing the weight they place on your spirit. They believe you can carry it because you always have, and they never consider that your energy needs protection the same way theirs does. Every one of these patterns leaves a trace, not in your mind, but in your field. You feel it as heaviness. You feel it as sudden irritability. You feel it as emotional fog. You feel it as a spiritual tiredness you cannot explain. And the truth is, the more powerful your energy is, the more others will unconsciously feed from it. The good news is this: once you recognize the patterns, you stop walking blindly into spiritual exhaustion. You begin to see the invisible exchanges happening around you. You begin to understand that not every tiredness is yours, not every emotion belongs to you, and not every weight you carry was meant for your shoulders. How to finally stop being an energetic target and protect your field without shutting down your gift. The first truth you must accept is that powerful energy becomes a target only when it is left unclaimed. This is something reflected in ancient Eastern philosophy, where it is said that unanchored light attracts wandering shadows. This does not mean your energy is weak or vulnerable. It means that energy which shines without direction becomes something that others instinctively reach toward. People who lack grounding, self-awareness, or emotional regulation will unconsciously pull from any available source that feels stable and warm, much like a cold body leaning toward a fire without realizing it is taking heat from the flame. When your field is open in every direction, your power flows outward without structure, and this openness becomes something people sense. They don't see your strength as yours, they feel it as available, and this is why so many draining patterns continue. To stop being an energetic target, you must learn to hold your energy inward instead of letting it spill into every environment you walk through. This does not mean shrinking or dimming your presence. It means centering it, grounding it, owning it. Imagine the difference between water flowing freely across a floor and water held inside a strong vessel. The water is the same, but its structure changes everything. One spills everywhere, reaching whoever stands near it. The other stays contained, powerful, and under your direction. When your energy becomes the vessel instead of the spill, people cannot pull from you so easily. They still feel you, but they no longer access you. One powerful way to do this begins with something subtle but deeply transformative: becoming consciously aware of where your attention goes. In many mystical traditions, especially in Buddhist teachings, attention is seen as the doorway of energy. Wherever your attention flows, your energy follows. When you enter a room scanning for others' moods, checking the atmosphere, or adjusting to the emotional climate, you're extending your energy outward without realizing it. You're allowing your field to blend with everything around you. This makes you easy to read, easy to access, and easy to pull from. But when you hold your attention inward, focusing on your breath, your body, your grounding, and your own presence, your energy stays with you. You're still open and aware, but you're not energetically reaching. You're not offering yourself unconsciously. You're centered, and a centered person doesn't give their power away by default. This is not about pretending to be detached. It is about anchoring your awareness so deeply into yourself that your field becomes self-contained. Another key part of protecting your energy without shutting down your gift is learning to recognize the shift that happens inside you when someone begins pulling from your field. This shift is often subtle at first. You may feel a slight drop in your chest, a heaviness behind your eyes, or a quiet urge to fix the other person's discomfort even when they haven't asked you to. You might feel your posture change, your breath shorten, or your mind start working harder than necessary. These small signs are not random. They are the early indicators that your energy is being accessed. Instead of allowing the pull to continue, you gently redirect your awareness back into yourself. You breathe deeper. You imagine your energy drawing back into your center, not as a shield, but as a presence. This inward movement stops the leak without shutting you down emotionally or spiritually. In Sufi teachings, this practice is known as returning to the heart, a way of reclaiming the energy that begins drifting outward. You don't need to say anything. You don't need to withdraw from the conversation. You simply shift your awareness back to your own presence, and the invisible door closes. Another way involves the way you listen. People who carry strong energy often listen with their whole being: body, mind, emotion, spirit. This level of listening is healing, but it is also draining when done without boundaries. Instead, you learn to listen the way monks and spiritual teachers listen, with openness but not absorption. They hear everything, but they do not take everything in. They let the words pass through their awareness instead of letting the emotions sink into their field. Their energy stays intact because they do not allow themselves to carry what is not theirs. This kind of listening is gentle, present, and compassionate without being consuming. Protecting your energy is not about building walls. Walls block your gift. Walls shut down your light. Walls isolate you from the world. What you need instead is clarity. Clarity of your center, clarity of your boundaries, clarity of what you carry and what you refuse to carry. In Taoist philosophy, there is a parable about a lamp placed inside a lantern. The flame continues to shine brightly, but the lantern keeps the wind from blowing the fire out. You're not meant to be the open flame in a storm. You're meant to be the flame inside a vessel that honors your power. There will always be people who reach toward your energy, intentionally or not. Some will seek comfort, some will seek grounding, some will seek validation, some will seek control, some will simply seek warmth. But you no longer have to be the open source they return to again and again. When you center your energy, claim it, direct it inward, and protect it with awareness, you shift from being a target to being a presence. You no longer leak energy into every interaction. You no longer absorb what others release. You no longer serve as an emotional container for those who refuse to build their own. How to rebuild your spiritual strength after being drained. There is a moment, after months or even years of being spiritually drained, when your soul begins to whisper that it cannot keep moving in the same way. It is not a loud message. It is not dramatic. It feels more like a quiet ache, a heaviness in the heart, a soft but persistent sense that too much of you has been leaking away without being replenished. At first you ignore it because life teaches you to push through exhaustion, to keep giving, to stay available, to carry what others drop. But spiritual exhaustion is not like physical tiredness. It doesn't leave with a nap or a day of rest. It lingers, it deepens, and eventually it reaches a point where you can no longer pretend that everything is fine. This is where rebuilding begins, not from discipline or effort or forced healing, but from recognition. You cannot restore a field you do not acknowledge has been wounded. You cannot reclaim energy you insist you never lost, and you cannot expand your presence in a way that empowers you until you first understand the ways you have been weakened. Rebuilding your spiritual strength does not begin with adding anything new. It begins with removing what was never yours to carry. In ancient teachings found in early Christian mysticism and Tibetan philosophy, there is a belief that the soul becomes weighed down not by its own burdens, but by the emotional debris it collects from others. These teachings describe a cleansing that happens not by doing more, but by letting go of the guilt that was projected onto you, letting go of the fears you absorbed unconsciously, letting go of the anger that settled into your chest even though it didn't originate there. When you allow these energies to dissolve, your true self begins to rise again. One of the most powerful ways to heal spiritually begins with reconnecting to your own presence. You've spent so long feeling the moods, emotions, and energy of others that you've forgotten the feeling of your own inner weather. The energy that belongs to you has a unique rhythm, steady, grounded, warm, or even intense, but always familiar. It feels like home. When you've been drained for too long, you lose touch with this rhythm, and rebuilding begins by returning to it. You can do this by paying attention to the moments when you're alone and quiet, when no one is pulling from your field. Listen to the soft pulse of your inner world. Feel the way your breath moves through your body. Notice the sensations that rise without any outside influence. These moments reconnect you to the energy that was always yours, the part of your spirit untouched by the demands of others. As you reconnect to yourself, you begin to notice something subtle. The energy of others stops blending with yours so easily. You begin to recognize the difference between your emotion and someone else's. You sense when a feeling enters your space that does not belong to you. This recognition is the beginning of spiritual strength, because strength is not only about power, it is about clarity. Once clarity returns, regeneration follows. Your energy begins to refuel naturally, the way a fire strengthens when the wind stops pulling at it. You no longer leak energy through old wounds. You no longer absorb emotional weight by habit. You no longer carry the invisible loads handed to you by people who never learned to carry their own. Instead, your energy begins to gather inside you, slow and steady, like water filling a deep well. There is a beautiful concept in Taoist philosophy that says, when the water is still, it reflects the sky. When the heart is still, it reflects the soul. As your energy rebuilds, your inner stillness increases, and with it, your self-awareness. You begin to understand what drains you and what nourishes you. You begin to recognize which environments help your spirit expand and which ones cause it to shrink. You begin to feel when a person's presence supports your growth and when it consumes your strength. This awareness is not judgment, it is discernment, and discernment is essential for expansion. Many people think expanding their energy means shining brighter, giving more, offering more, or opening themselves wider. But real expansion has nothing to do with overextending. Real expansion is like a tree growing deeper roots before it spreads its branches. It strengthens from the inside out. It becomes more whole, more solid, more grounded. Only then does the outward growth happen. Only then does the energy expand in a way that empowers rather than drains. As your energy strengthens, you start to notice that the places inside you that once felt empty begin to fill again. The heaviness that used to settle in your chest begins to lift. The fog that clouded your intuition begins to clear. You feel more present in your own life, more connected to your own choices, more awake in your own body. Your energy no longer feels scattered. It feels gathered. It feels deliberate. It feels like something that belongs to you again. This rebuilding creates a shift in the way you interact with the world. You no longer feel responsible for managing the emotions of others. You no longer feel guilty for pulling your energy back when needed. You no longer feel obligated to be the strong one in every room. You begin to understand that your spiritual strength is not meant to be used up by anyone who reaches for it. It is meant to guide your life, not drain it. And as your energy becomes whole again, something remarkable happens. You start to expand in a way that actually increases your power. This expansion is soft, steady, and grounded. It is not forceful or dramatic. It feels like your spirit stretching into its natural size, no longer compressed or restrained by the needs of others. You begin to fill the space you were always meant to inhabit, and your presence grows without effort. This stage is described as the return of the light. It is the moment when your inner flame becomes strong enough not only to warm you, but to shine outward naturally. People still feel your energy, but the difference now is that your energy is coming from a place of fullness, not depletion. You no longer give from an empty cup. You no longer radiate from a wounded space. Your presence becomes powerful not because you are trying to be powerful, but because you are simply aligned. And the most beautiful part is this: when your energy expands from fullness, no one can drain you. Your boundaries are built into your presence. Your field becomes structured. People may feel drawn to you, but they no longer see you as a source to feed on. They feel your strength, but it does not come at your expense. Instead, they feel inspired by you, awakened by you, or even humbled by you. Your energy begins to uplift without being taken. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.